Hi guys, welcome to your channel. I hope you're fine. Today we're going to read the story of the kitten. If you're an English language student, you will probably encounter it in the course of oral reproduction of the stories. Since our teachers don't teach in this lesson, I decided to come to learn and understand the stories and to share with you what I have learned and read, and I have been able to help you dear ones. سلام دوستان، امیدوارم هر جا که هستین حالتون خوب و عالی باشه. امروز قرار هست که داستان کیتن رو با هم بخونیم و اینکه اگر شما دانشجوی رشته زبان انگلیسی باشین در درس بیان شفاهی این ممکنه که با این داستان مواجه بشین و اینکه از اونجایی که استادان عزیز این درس رو تدریس نمی‌کنن سر کلاس و بر عهده خود دانشجویان هست که این درس رو بخونن و بیان ارائه بدن و درباره‌اش صحبت بکنن، به این نتیجه رسیدم که برای یادگیری و فهم بهتر داستان بیام چیزهایی که یاد گرفتم و خوندم و با شما عزیزان به اشتراک بذارم و اینکه تونسته باشم کمکی هم به شما عزیزان کرده باشم. This video is divided into 3 parts. In the first part, first we listen to the story. In the second part, I'll tell the story in Persian, and in the third part, I will tell the summary of the story in English so that you can use it at the university if you want. خب همونجور که گفتم این ویدیو به 3 قسمت تقسیم میشه. قسمت اول که داستان را کامل با هم دیگه میخونیم. قسمت دوم خلاصه شده ای از داستان رو به زبان فارسی برای شما عزیزان خواهم گفت و در قسمت سوم هم خلاصه‌ای به زبان انگلیسی که دوستانی که در واقع میخوان در دانشگاه از اون استفاده کنن باز هم برای شما خواهم گفت. و اینکه یادتون نره که برای داستان بیشتر ما رو سابسکرایب کنید و زنگوله را هم فعال کنید.
In Memphis, we lived in a one-story brick tenement. The stone buildings and the concrete pavements looked bleak and hostile to me. The absence of green, growing things made the city seem dead. Living space for the 4 of us, my mother, my brother, my father, and me, was a kitchen and a bedroom. In the front and rear were paved areas in which my brother and I could play. But for days I was afraid to go into the strange city streets alone. It was in this tenement that the personality of my father first came fully into the orbit of my concern. He worked as a night porter in a Beale Street drugstore, and he became important and forbidding to me only when I learned that I could not make noise when he was asleep in the daytime. He was the lawgiver in our family, and I never laughed in his presence. I used to lurk timidly in the kitchen doorway and watch his huge body sitting slumped at the table. I stared at him with awe as he gulped his beer from a tin bucket, as he ate long and heavily, sighed, belched, closed his eyes to nod on a stuffed belly. He was quite fat, and his bloated stomach always lapped over his belt. He was always a stranger to me, always somehow alien and remote. One morning, my brother and I, while playing in the rear of our flat, found a stray kitten that set up a loud, persistent meowing. We fed it some scraps of food and gave it water, but it still meowed. My father, clad in his underwear, stumbled sleepily to the back door and demanded that we keep quiet. We told him that it was the kitten that was making the noise, and he ordered us to drive it away. We tried to make the kitten leave, but it would not budge. My father took a hand. "Scat!" he shouted. The scrawny kitten lingered, brushing itself against our legs and meowing plaintively. "Kill that damn thing," my father exploded. "Do anything but get it away from here." He went inside, grumbling. I resented his shouting, and it irked me that I could never make him feel my resentment. How could I hit back at him? Oh yes, he had said to kill the kitten, and I would kill it. I knew that he had not really meant for me to kill the kitten, but my deep hate of him urged me toward a literal acceptance of his word. "He said for us to kill the kitten," I told my brother. "He didn't mean it," my brother said. "He did, and I'm going to kill him." "Then he will howl," my brother said. "He can't howl if he's dead," I said. "He didn't really say kill him," my brother protested. "He did," I said, "and you heard him." My brother ran away in fright. I found a piece of rope, made a noose, slipped it around the kitten's neck, pulled it over a nail, then jerked the animal clear of the ground. It gasped, slobbered, spun, doubled, clawed the air frantically. Finally, its mouth gaped, and its pink, white tongue shot out stiffly. I tied the rope to a nail and went to find my brother. He was crouching behind a corner of the building. "I killed him," I whispered. "You did bad," my brother said. "Now Papa can sleep," I said, deeply satisfied. "He didn't mean for you to kill him," my brother said. "Then why did he tell me to do it?" I demanded. My brother could not answer. He stared fearfully at that dangling kitten. "That kitten's going to get you," he warned me. "That kitten can't even breathe now," I said. "I'm going to tell," my brother said, running into the house. I waited, resolving to defend myself with my father's rash words, anticipating my enjoyment in repeating them to him, even though I knew that he had spoken them in anger. My mother hurried toward me, drying her hands upon her apron. She stopped and paled when she saw the kitten suspended from the rope. "What in God's name have you done?" she asked. "The kitten was making noise and Papa said to kill it," I explained. "You little fool," she said. "Your father's going to beat you for this." "But he told me to kill it," I said. "You shut your mouth." She grabbed my hand and dragged me to my father's bedside and told him what I had done. "You know better than that," my father stormed. "You told me to kill him," I said. "I told you to drive him away," he said. "You told me to kill him," I countered positively. "You get out of my eyes before I smack you down," my father bellowed in disgust, then turned over in bed. I had my first triumph over my father. I had made him believe that I had taken his words literally. He could not punish me now without risking his authority. I was happy because I had at last found a way to throw my criticism of him into his face. I had made him feel that if he whipped me for the killing of the kitten, I would never give serious weight to his words again. I had made him know that I had felt he was cruel, and I had done it without his punishing me. But my mother, being more imaginative, retaliated with an assault upon my sensibilities that crushed me with the moral horror involved in taking a life. All that afternoon she directed toward me calculated words that spawned in my mind a horde of invisible demons bent upon exacting vengeance for what I had done. As evening drew near, anxiety filled me, and I was afraid to go into an empty room alone. You owe a debt you can never pay, my mother said. I'm sorry, I mumbled. Being sorry can't make that kitten live again, she said. Then, just before I was to go to bed, she uttered a paralyzing injunction. She ordered me to go out into the dark, dig a grave, and bury the kitten. No! I screamed, feeling that if I went out of doors, some evil spirit would whisk me away. Get out there and bury that poor kitten, she ordered. I'm scared. And wasn't that kitten scared when you put the rope around its neck? She asked. But it was only a kitten, I explained. But it was alive, she said. Can you make it live again? But Papa said to kill it, I said, trying to shift the moral blame upon my father. My mother whacked me across my mouth with the fist of her hand. You stop that lying. You know what he meant. I didn't, I bawled. She shoved a tiny spade into my hands. Go out there and dig a hole and bury that kitten. I stumbled out into the black night, sobbing, my legs wobbly from fear. Though I knew that I had killed the kitten, my mother's words had made it live again in my mind. What would that kitten do to me when I touched it? Would it claw at my eyes? As I groped toward the dead kitten, my mother lingered behind me, unseen in the dark, her disembodied voice egging me on. Mama, come and stand by me, I begged. You didn't stand by that kitten, so why should I stand by you? She asked tauntingly from the menacing darkness. I can't touch it, I whimpered, feeling that the kitten was staring at me with reproachful eyes. Untie it, she ordered. Shuddering, I fumbled at the rope, and the kitten dropped to the pavement with a thud that echoed in my mind for many days and nights. Then, obeying my mother's floating voice, I hunted for a spot of earth, dug a shallow hole, and buried the stiff kitten. As I handled its cold body, my skin prickled. When I had completed the burial, I sighed and started back to the flat. But my mother caught hold of my hand and led me again to the kitten's grave. Shut your eyes and repeat after me, she said. I closed my eyes tightly, my hand clinging to hers. Dear God, our Father, forgive me, for I knew not what I was doing. Dear God, our Father, forgive me, for I knew not what I was doing, I repeated. And spare my poor life, even though I did not spare the life of the kitten. And spare my poor life, even though I did not spare the life of the kitten, I repeated. And while I sleep tonight, do not snatch the breath of life from me. I opened my mouth, but no words came. My mind was frozen with horror. I pictured myself gasping for breath and dying in my sleep. I broke away from my mother and ran into the night, crying, shaking with dread. No, I sobbed. My mother called to me many times, but I would not go to her. Well, I suppose you learned your lesson, she said at last. Contrite, I went to bed, hoping that I would never see another kitten.
ما توی یک خونه آجری تک واحدی در خیابان مفید زندگی می‌کردیم که کلنگی شده بود. این خونه خیلی دلگیر و کسالت‌بار بود. نه سبزی نه تحرکی. این شهر مثل مرده‌ها به نظر می‌رسید. تمام فضای زندگی برای ما 4 نفر، یعنی من، پدرم، مادرم و برادرم، شامل یک آشپزخانه و اتاق خواب بود. قسمت جلو و عقب خونه سنگ فرش شده بود که من و برادرم میتونستیم اونجا بازی کنیم. من تا مدت‌ها از اینکه تنهایی بخوام به خیابون‌های این شهر غریبه قدم بذارم میترسیدم. برای اولین بار شخصیت پدرم رو تو همون خونه کلنگی شناختم. پدر من یک باربر شبکار در داروخانه یک خیابان بیل بود. پدرم وقتی برام مهم و البته جزء مسائل ممنوعه شد که فهمیدم موقع استراحت کردن هیچ صدایی نباید از من در بیاد. پدر من یک فرد مستبد بود، به طوری که اصلا من جلوی اون نمیخندیدم. همیشه وقتی پدرم از سر کار میومد، من از ترسم جلوی در آشپزخونه قایم میشدم و به این نگاه میکردم که پدرم چطوری با اون هیکل گندش جلوی تلویزیون میشینه و آبجوشو میخوره. همیشه موقع آبجو خوردن یه آهی میکشید و یه آروغ میزد، بعدم چشماشو میبست و سرشو پایین میآورد و به خواب میرفت. شکم پدرم انقدر گنده بود که از کمربندش آویزون میشد. یه روز وقتی من و برادرم تو حیاط پشتی بازی میکردیم، یه گربه رو پیدا کردیم که پشت سر هم میو میو میکرد. ما یه مقدار غذا و آب بهش دادیم ولی بازم گربه پشت سر هم میو میو میکرد. پدر من تلو تلو خوران از خواب بیدار شد و اومد و گفت ساکت باشید. ما بهش گفتیم که این صدای ما نیست، صدای گربه است، ولی پدرم باز هم با تشر به ما گفت ساکت باشید و گربه رو از اینجا دور کنید. ما هر کاری کردیم که گربه از اونجا بره نشد و گربه خودش رو جلوی پای ما جمع کرده بود و طوری میو میو میکرد که انگار ناله بود. پدرم از عصبانیت اینکه چرا گربه سر و صدا میکنه و مزاحم خوابش شده به ما گفت گربه رو از اونجا دور کنید، ولی باز هم گربه نرفت. این دفعه با تشر گفت بکشش و تلو تلو خوران باز هم به اتاق خوابش برگشت. از فریادهای پدرم متنفر بودم. اونطوری که اون من عصبانی میکرد من هرگز نمیتونستم چنین احساسات متقابلی رو به اون بفهمونم. چطور میتونستم تلافیشو سرش در بیارم؟ آها فهمیدم. اون گفت بچه گربه رو بکش. حالا تنفر عمیق من از اون باعث میشه که من بتونم به راحتی بچه گربه رو بکشم. توی همین حین برادرم گفت منظوری نداشت، اما من بهش گفتم که پدر گفت گربه رو بکشیم و من این کار رو میکنم تا پدر بتونه راحت بخوابه. رفتم دنبال یه طناب و یه میخ گشتم تا گربه رو به اون آویزون کنم. گربه بیچاره انقدر توی هوا پیچ و تاب خورد مثل پاندول ساعت، دست و پا میزد تا آخر نفسش از بین رفت و زبون صورتی رنگ کمرنگش بیرون اومد و دیگه جونش رو از دست داده بود. با یه صدای نجواگر به برادرم گفتم کشتمش. داداشم یه نگاهی بهم کرد و گفت ولی منظور پدر این نبود. من بهش گفتم حالا پدر راحت میتونه بخوابه. من از اینکه این کارو کرده بودم خیلی خوشحال بودم، چون دقیقاً تونسته بودم حرف پدرم رو اجرا کنم. برادرم در همین حین دستش روی گوشاش گرفت و داخل خونه فرار کرد و گفت به همه میگم. یه مدت بعد مامانم با عجله از خونه بیرون اومد. همینجوری که دستاشو با پیشبندش خوش میکرد گفت تو چی کار کردی؟ و نگاهش به گربه مرده خورد. به مادرم گفتم گربه رو کشتم تا بابا راحت بتونه استراحت کنه. مامانم بهم گفت دهنتو ببند. مادرم دست منو محکم گرفت و به سمت اتاق خواب پدرم برد و جریان رو برای پدرم تعریف کرد. پدرم بهم گفت تا نزدم لهت کنم از اتاق خواب برو بیرون و باز هم خودش به رخت خوابش برگشت و خوابید. من اولین پیروزیام رو در مقابل پدرم به دست آورده بودم. من کاری کرده بودم تا باور کنه من کلماتش رو همون جوری که هستن دریافت میکنم. اون حالا بدون خطرات مسئولیتش نمیتونست منو تنبیه کنه. از اینکه تونسته بودم راهی پیدا کنم تا سرزنش ها رو جلوی رویش و به سمت اون نشانه بگیرم خیلی خوشحال بودم. من باعث شدم تا اون احساس کنه اگه منو به خاطر کشتن اون بچه گربه شلاق بزنه من دیگه هرگز به معنی اصلی کلمات او توجه نخواهم کرد. این کاری که کردم تا بدون من اون رو فردی بیرحم و پست میدونم و بدون ترس از تنبیه او این کار رو کرده بودم. اما مادرم افکار بازتری داشت. اون با دست گذاشتن روی احساسات من باعث شد تا من تاوان این کارم رو پس بدم. در تمام بعد از ظهر مادرم کلمات حساب شده رو تحویلم داد که در ذهنم یک گروه از موارد شیطانی نامرئی رو نشونم دادن. مواردی شامل پس دادن تقاص برای اون چیزی که انجام داده بودیم. هرچی به غروب نزدیکتر می شدیم نگرانی من بیشتر می شد و از اینکه تنهایی وارد یک اتاق خالی بشم وحشت داشتم. مادرم گفت تو یک بدهی داری که هرگز قادر به باز پرداخت اون نیستی. به مادرم گفتم متاسفم، اما گفت متاسف بودن تو باعث نمیشه که اون بچه گربه بیچاره زنده بشه. اون شب مادرم قبل از اینکه به تخت خواب برم یه مسئولیت فلج کننده به گردنم انداخت. اونم این بود که برم و اون بچه گربه بیچاره رو توی زمین دفنش کنم. به مادرم گفتم نه، چون میترسیدم اگر برم بیرون ارواح شیطانی من رو به دوردست‌ها خواهند برد. و این دفعه مادرم آمرانه گفت برو بیرون و اون بچه گربه بیچاره رو خاکش کن. من گفتم میترسم، اما اون پرسید وقتی داشتی تناب رو به گردن اون بچه گربه مینداختی اون نترسیده بود. من بهونه آوردم که اون فقط یه حیوان بوده، نترسیده. اما مادرم گفت ولی جون داشت، میتونی دوباره زندهش کنی؟ من گفتم اما بابا گفت که بکشش. سعی کردم مسئولیت وجدانیم رو به گردن پدرم بیاندازم ولی نشد. مادرم گفت تو خیلی خوب میدونستی منظور پدرت چیه و با خشونت یک بیلچه رو به دستم داد تا بیرون برم. هوا خیلی تاریک بود، جوری که اصلا نمیتونستی هیچ جا رو ببینی. من تلو تلو خوران قدم برمی داشتم، پام از ترس میلرزید. به مادرم گفتم که بیاد نزدیک من، ولی مادرم گفت وقتی این کار کردی بچه گربه نمیترسید؟ این دفعه التماسش کردم که مامان بیا کنارم وایسا، ولی اون بهم گفت تو کنار اون بچه گربه نموندی، حالا چرا من باید کنار تو وایسم؟ و بهم گفت به خاک بسپرش. دست انداختم و طنابو کشیدم و بچه گربه رو خاک کردم. به ساختمون خونه زل زدم و این دفعه مادرم به من گفت چشماتو ببند و با من تکرار کن. خداوندا ای آفریننده همه ما، مرا ببخش چرا که نمیدانستم دارم چه کار میکنم و زندگی حقیرانه مرا بر من ببخشا، گرچه من زندگی آن بچه گربه را بر او نبخشیدم. هنگامی که من امشب در خواب هستم نفس زندگیم را از من نگیر. دهانم را باز کردم اما کلمه‌ای از اون بیرون نیامد. ذهنم از وحشت یخ کرده بود. تصور کردم که دارم برای نفس کشیدن تلاش میکنم و در خواب جان میدهم. از دست مادرم فرار کردم و در دل تاریکی شب دویدم. گریه میکردم و از ترس میلرزیدم و با حق میگفتم نه. مادرم بارها صدایم زد اما من توجهی نکردم. در آخر شب مادرم به من گفت خوب فکر کن، درست رو یاد بگیر. با حال پشیمانی به سوی تخت خوابم رفتم به این امید که دیگر بچه گربه ای را نبینم.
Summary section. This fiction was about a boy who lived in Memphis. Their house was boring and too small. His family includes his father, mother, and his brother. His father worked as a night porter. Because of that, he had to sleep in the morning. So, his father was a serious person. That's why he didn't laugh with his father. One day, when he was playing with his brother, they found a kitten that had a loud voice. Suddenly, his father came and said, "Get out of this kitten, or kill it," he said angrily. The boy wants to get revenge of his dad, so he started to kill the kitten. But his brother said, "Don't do it." When he can't satisfy his brother, abandoned him. After that, the boy killed the kitten. When his brother and his mother realized that he killed the kitten, they fought with him. His mother took him by the hand and led him to his father. Then they told that story. His father fought him again and said, "You know what I meant." But he has done something to tell his father that I understand every word of you, and you can't punish me because you say that, and I'm not afraid of you. After a lot of fights with his mother, she punished him. She told him to go out at night and dig a hole to bury the kitten. At first, he didn't accept, but he saw there is no way, so he did it. After that night, he slept with fear and weeping, and he deeply regrets what he had done. This was our story today. I hope you like it and have fun. Finally, I have to thank my friend Zohre for telling you the story in Persian. امیدوارم که از این داستان لذت برده باشید و اینکه اگر از داستان خوشتون اومد حتما ما رو سابسکرایب کنید تا ویدیوهای بعدی رو هم از دست ندید. تا یه ویدیو دیگه، خدا نگهدار.